seemed like the third quarter was kind of the difference. Just what went wrong in that quarter?
Yeah, I think they hit us in the mouth. I felt like they did that a little bit in the first quarter too, and we were able to regroup. Their physicality on the defensive end really affected us. It took us out of what we wanted to do and forced us to rush offensively, and they've got really good shifty guards that can get downhill, and we didn't do a good job of guarding our yard or being in rotation, and they've got great post players. They got Olympians on this roster, right? And our ability to match that physicality on the defensive end, our positioning, our connectedness, I thought wasn't there, and they took advantage of it.
And what was the difference between the physicality, you think, like in the first half versus that third quarter and fourth?
I don't know if it was different. I just felt like we handled it better early in the ballgame.
I know fouls are kind of the story of the season, and it's not always fun to talk about the fines, but 6 through 3 quarters just seems incredibly low. Did you feel like you weren't getting a lot of calls early that impacted late in the game?
Yeah, I feel like it's been that way all season for us. But again, I think that an area for growth for us is like, we've got to be able to play through that. Obviously, it's being able to happen, so we've got to find a way to play through that. We've got to use physicality in a way that we can, use our movements and some of our pressure releases against them. We've got to find a way to finish with contact. I felt like the other thing that it forced us to do today was get very tunnel vision. We got away from moving the ball. We got a lot of ISO threes instead of a lot of kick out threes, and so it forced us to be a little bit more tentative and tunnel vision.
How do you take that into practice in the coming days in terms of building off of all that?
We've got to be able to handle that. I think growth in terms of mental toughness, right, in terms of being able to stay focused and locked in, being able to get to the next action, being able to utilize pressure releases and not force it to freeze us, are all things that we can continue to work on in practice.
Atlanta had a 44 to 27, I think, rebounding advantage.
Yeah.
Is that something to do with physicality as well?
I don't know. They got big bodies in there with Breezy and BG, and oftentimes that was a result of us being in rotation because we got beat on a straight line drive, and so when we're in rotation off of straight line drives, a lot of them are roaming free, and it's tough for our bigs to come in there when they're guarding their bigs and rebound. Our guards have to do a little bit better job. I don't know what our guard rebounding was, but we've got to be able to have our guards average 3 or 4 rebounds each. Now they're a tough matchup for us, and they had their way with us tonight.
Alicia Gray had a great game.
Yeah.
One of the Olympians you were talking about.
Yeah.
She's had a great season too. What has made her so good, do you think, this year?
She's one of my favorite players in this league. I just think that she's incredibly talented. She's gotten better every year. She continues to just allow the game to come to her. She's aggressive to the rim. Her 3-point shooting is really good. She great scores get to the free throw line. She does that. She uses her size well. She plays off of her teammates really well. She's a tough matchup.
It seemed like the third quarter was the difference there. Just what did they do so well, and what did you guys kind of struggle with?
I give credit to Atlanta. They played good tonight, but for us, they did what they needed to do. They put pressure on us in the paint. I don't know how many we was in the paint, but they outscored us in the paint, and they was more physical than us. And that's one thing about other teams; they're gonna be more physical than us. But at the end of the day, we gotta stick together and outsmart them when it comes to 2 dominant post players. But we're gonna watch film and learn from it, and get ready for our next game on Saturday.
To being more physical, combat a physical team, is it a mental aspect? Is it just getting into practice and putting it into play?
I say both. More than none is both. But with us, we're a young team, and we're still growing, we're still learning. But when it comes to teams that have dominant post players, we have to get them out of the post. Put them in more ball screens, put them in more ball screens than anything, and instead of us trying to pound with them as well in the paint, because they're bigger and stronger than us. So we gotta pull them out the paint and put them in pick and rolls to get them tired on the defensive end, so they won't be able to do anything on the offensive end.
I guess it seemed like the third quarter was the difference tonight. Just what did you guys struggle with in the third quarter? What did Atlanta do so well?
I think we struggled making shots in the third quarter, getting some stops, and Atlanta capitalized, and they scored 23 points.
And Steph talked a lot about the physicality, especially in the third, and how that affected you guys. Just what changed between the first half and the third quarter?
I think the physicality in the sense of just making sure that we finish through contact. I think especially for me too, needed to do a better job of that tonight, especially with their post physicality. And once again, we just have to get better stops.